We're getting the shakeout in the market. CPI data came in. It's hot, but is this just a trap? I think Bitcoin and altcoins are about to have some major moves. I know we've been saying that, but it is coming into that make it or break it timeline. What is going to send Bitcoin pumping higher? Will altcoins start to pump higher as well? That is the question. We have some key charts and signals we're going to be going over today with Bitcoin, with Ondo, with Ethereum, with Aptos, the market is just setting up so juicy. What are we going to do about it? Everybody, let's get this retweeted out on X. Let's everybody make sure that we are getting active in the live chat. We've got a lot to talk about today. As we bring this all up, let me go ahead and pull up all the data I need so I can get this retweeted out. 1 second. We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. Everybody, are you bullish or bearish for the end of February? Let me know. Get active in the live chat. You can even drop an emoji. If you're a BitLab member, drop a bull or a bear. If you're not a member, just say bull or bear. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Everybody, we got a lot to cover today, so let's get active. Let's jump into these charts. I'm getting this retweeted, all the comments posted, everything that needs to get up there right now. Now, Bitcoin, altcoins, pump season, is it here or is it max caution to the downside? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's go. The never-ending struggle for the bulls to just break away, or is this just that perpetual setup to continue stacking? I know that I stacked more last night. I'm going to tell you what that is here in a little bit. Let me know. Have you been DCAing in? Have you been sitting on your hands? Have you been capitulating and de-risking entirely because you're scared? Let me know what you're doing in the market, because we're still seeing with Bitcoin a little bit of this sell-off on the news. Let's go down to like the 7-minute chart. This is that chart. This is that sell-off when the CPI data came in, which we're going to cover here in a second. But we're going to be talking about what's going on in these charts with Bitcoin. Also, let's actually go back out to the 6-hour. Also, what's going on with the total chart, the others chart. All those altcoins have been waiting on ripping. Ethereum still, all these charts, it just looks like everybody's waiting on the signal. Even the ETH to Bitcoin chart. Cardano got a little pump up. Kind of, is this setting up for a bull flag for a continuation? There's a lot of news on the horizon for Cardano. Of course, Ondo, having the sell-off and then just sideways accumulation, distribution. What's going on? Link actually looking a little weaker here. Aerodrome still within this falling wedge. We got Constellation DAG coming down, kind of rounding out, finding potentially a bottom, or are we getting a bigger drop? Man, XRP looking weak here as it had big sell-off, holding on this basically equilibrium line. What are we doing right now? What is going on in this market? Is it still worth stacking? Are we still going to get alt season? Well, we got a master chart that may be outlining exactly what may be coming up. Maybe we're in that zone right now that we're always in before the big move. So how's everybody doing? How you feeling? I hope this isn't frustrating you too much. I know a lot of people are just expecting it to run away. But again, when we understand the bullishness that is present for this market looking into the rest of 2025, we should be jumping for joy right now that this market isn't absolutely running away. The framework, the bullishness that's coming in, that's underpinning what is to come, is overwhelming right now, which is also presenting opportunities for these market makers to wash people out in both directions. So the question is right now, are you still bullish on 2025? Are you still stacking in, or are you being dumb money and selling? Let me know what you're doing, and make sure you're following us here on BitLab for more so we can keep you on the right side of the trend. Now, diving in to what we want to look at today, let's get into it. We got a couple hundred people in the room. I know we're going to have several hundred more pop in here in just a few minutes. But when we come back over here, we go to following. That's on the watch list. We're still sitting here above the $3 trillion mark. Nothing much is happening. Everything's still in the same range. But then why did it drop? Well, we got the January CPI inflation rises to 3%, which was a minuscule amount, 0.1%, a tenth of a percent higher. And the market says, oh my God, it's over. Let's dump the market. Well, why is that so bad? Well, when we look at what's going on, let's see. Here's Stock Money Lizard says 30 minutes later, and it's exactly as expected. The pattern is always the same. Market makers will always use macro events to grab liquidity, take those emotional traders, over leverage, both long and short. Or do you seriously believe that suddenly people start panicking because of a 0.1% difference in forecast versus actual inflation? We all know that the inflation is overwhelmingly higher than the 0.1% difference that they're, coming in above expectation. Some things are 13%, some are 12, some are 7%. This is all just a sham. Everything that's happening with all these CPI reads, it really has no impact on what we're seeing in Bitcoin, because we also saw yesterday that BlackRock, their website actually has Bitcoin listed as a risk off asset. That's the true nature of Bitcoin, yet there's still a good number of people out there trading like a risk asset because they're new to it, because they're scared. It's a tech. No, this is the best asset in the history of ever. So those of us that realize it are able to take advantage of what's going on when you see these washouts in the market. Now, coming back to what we're seeing here, what's the next? I'm actually going to save this because we're going to come back to this in a little bit. But look at this liquidity below. All this liquidity. It kind of pushed up here, flushed this out, came back to center. Look, tried to flush it out. Bulls didn't really have the juice. Tried to basically commit people to going long, and you keep getting people adding shorts. How do you know that you keep getting people adding shorts? Because look at the liquidation levels above, and then as this comes across, you start getting the colors filled out brighter and brighter and brighter, suggesting that as each time this isn't moving up, you're getting a lot more shorts stacking up above us. But then this came down, and there are people longing. This comes down, flushes that liquidity. Shout out to Falco, my guy, gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. And, the memberships here on the BitLab, you guys, you don't understand how much that helps keep the lights on, and the team that we have, and all the time that we spend, and the gear, and also gives you access to the member benefits that we have here. So shout out. Thank you for gifting those 5 memberships. Now, continuing on, what do we got? Now, we also see that bullishness, we're seeing some perceived bearishness, which really isn't going to impact Bitcoin. But then we get this. The Fed Chair Jerome Powell says that the Federal Reserve won't block banks from serving legal crypto customers. This is also on the heels of that Senate Banking Committee and trying to figure out him basically testifying before the Senate about what's going on with Operation Choke Point 2.0, what's going on with banks, what's going on with crypto, all the digital assets. So this is another step in the right direction. That landscape looking forward about bullishness and what may be coming, and the softening of this squashing approach that we've had from the administration's past to where we're at now, where they're trying to figure out supportive legal frameworks for digital assets looking forward and beyond. So that is just super bullish. And then you also see, remember, Goldman Sachs was talking for a couple of years ago about how this is just like the Dutch tulip cycle, the bubble, blah, it's just so I would never hold. And then what does it look like? Oh, they're just sculpting people using their narrative to keep prices low. And what do they have? $2.3 billion in Bitcoin ETF exposure per their 13F SEC filings. 1.9 billion worth of IBIT, 374 million worth of Fidelity, and 3.6 million worth of Grayscale. 3 different ETFs they have exposure to, up from 710 million in Q4, only about a month and a half ago. So they are stacking in like mad. Goldman Sachs, one of the larger financial institutions globally, but in addition to that, also a kind of preeminent financial institution that is very involved with making decisions and also shaping narratives in the finance here in the US. So 2.3 billion, they are stacking, more than doubling their exposure since Q4 acknowledgments. And people are selling here. Dumb money is selling, smart money is buying. Goldman Sachs more than doubled their Bitcoin exposure in the Bitcoin spot ETFs since Q4, since a month and a half ago. And yet there's people selling here. If you are selling at this level, you are a part of dumb money. Smart money, big money, institutional money, and even international sovereign money is stacking in at these levels and preparing only to stack in more. And yet people are selling here. What? I am not a part of dumb money. I don't want any of you to be a part of dumb money. I am going to follow the whale so one day I can become a whale. That's what this is all about. So let me know what you're doing in this market, because I know that I'm not getting chopped out of the ranges here before the market explodes. And then we also see beyond that huge Exchange outflows of Bitcoin, massive. Okay. What are we seeing? Net flow. This big bar right here is coins moving off of exchange. Massive amount of coins moving off of exchange. The largest amount that we've seen, in months here. But this is even though the price just did have a little bit of a setback, it is selling off a little bit. It's still basically within this range, move down, move back up, comes back and kind of rounding in the zone. It's still, until we drop and we lose the $89,000 level, which is a key level. And I'm going to show you why here in a few minutes. All of this is noise. Everything we're seeing here is noise. In fact, this is just chopping people out that are emotional dumb money. And I don't want any of you to be a part of the dumb money category. I am stacking, excited, but holding on. Stacking, excited, but not doing anything. Stacking. What are you doing at these ranges? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you still locking yourself into these emotional narratives that happen time and time again in every market, not just Bitcoin, not just altcoins, but every market? And when you look at historical trends and you look at what's coming, especially the fact that global liquidity is on basically set right now to likely tick much, much higher, and that global liquidity will be the fuel that will light the markets on fire. But at that point, you'll already be left behind. So what are you doing at these levels? And then we come back over here and remember, this is preparing for holding, not selling. Smart money is not only backing up the truck to stack into these markets, they're also preparing for longer term holding. And then we look at the analogy of gold to Bitcoin. Let me make this larger so you can see it like this. We'll do it like this. There we go. So what's going on? Gold used consolidation as fuel for new highs. Bitcoin is following the same script. This is the stairway to heaven. Every breakout starts with accumulation. Are you positioned? This is what gold did. Big move up, consolidate. Look at this. Wash out down, trap people, move back up, trap people up, comes back down, basically a range. And then boom, pushes up, chops people both directions, accumulates. When it's ready for the move, look at this. Boom, up into a new range. And then boom. What are we seeing here on Bitcoin? We're seeing the same thing. Building the stairway to heaven. I'm ready to be up there. And the only way you can do that is if you can make sure that you take these steps, not get squashed by these steps that are being built. Big move up, very quick, chops people out for a couple weeks. In this case, many months. Push up, several weeks. Now, at this point, it feels like longer than that because these several weeks is turning into that 2-month sort of time frame. But guys, this now is not the time to get complacent, get frustrated, get chopped out because you want it to happen now. I debated last night. I was talking with TJ about this. I debated last night even allocating in the market because I'm frustrated. Yeah, I talk about not being frustrated, but I'm human. I'm frustrated with this market. Partially, there's more pressure because I have to talk every day, all day long, to the community here, to the Mario Nawfal channel, to Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, our Discord, what's going on within the private groups we have. It feels like it's become a support group, emotional support group, because people want it now. And in fact, I want it now too, because everything's a lot more exciting when the market makes a big move. And then, even if it's chopping sideways for a week or two, you're still on the high of the big move. But these big moves happen fast over very short periods of time, especially with where we're at with these market caps. And then you get a lot of the chop sideways to kind of encourage that the bulls are buying the dips there, giving the strength for the bears to give up, for the bulls to make that next move higher. So this is where we're at right now. We're seeing the stairway to heaven being built. We're seeing a very analogous sort of framework that we're seeing on gold, all the way down here, $1,900 per ounce, all the way up here to $2,900. This is a major move. Yes, $1,000, but $1,000 on a $15 trillion industry. This is major, major growth. Now, we have a much smaller industry over here, or asset, I should say, within Bitcoin, but a move, look at this, from 24,000 all the way up here to 109,000, and people are still asking why Bitcoin isn't moving. Bitcoin's moving. People are not being patient. Understand that, and you will win. And then you move on to this, and you say, but what about quantitative easing? What about quantitative tightening? In fact, yesterday, Matthew Hyland posted a pretty great tweet that said, we just got potentially some of the worst news we've gotten in the forward-looking sort of idea about when the market's going to really explode, what's going to happen with liquidity. When are we going to get quantitative easing instead of all this quantitative tightening? And Jerome Powell said, there's no need or don't expect any quantitative easing until we get to 0%. We are far away from that. Talk about rate cuts. We would need several rate cuts or some very large rate cuts in order for that to happen. And why would they cut rates when we just saw the CPI also higher? Inflation higher does not lead to potential rate cuts. So you saw that and you didn't really see that big. I mean, it's almost, you don't even notice it on the chart, the sell-off. I mean, we are in bottoming sort of territory. That doesn't prevent a larger move happening to the downside. Very, quick moves that we've talked about. However, there's also the argument that we need quantitative easing for this to move up. Well, do we? Because there's a different landscape for what quantitative easing is in this market now. There's different mechanisms. There's a Treasury general account that can start to be, deployed into the market, which isn't quantitative easing, but it effectively does the same thing. It injects liquidity into the market. There's other things that happen, globally, because it's not just the U.S. It's China. It's European Central Bank, what's going on in Brazil, what's going on in Australia. There's a lot of different mechanisms globally that could inject liquidity into markets. Now, everybody's wondering when we're going to get quantitative easing because that's when markets go up. But is that the case? Look at this chart. If we take, I don't know why my nose is itching. If we take total altcoin market cap chart plus the Bitcoin dominance chart, we can overlay the periods of quantitative easing, good for markets, and quantitative tightening, bad for markets. These are perceptions, and see that both statements are false. Crypto saw big gains, bull market and alt season without QE. This is important to note. Only once did QE align with the bull market. Only once did QE align with the bull market in 2021. Chart thoughts. Alt season doesn't need QE. The altcoin market went from 400 billion to 1.7 trillion during quantitative tightening. Quantitative easing helps, but isn't required. Other triggers exist. The ETFs, government, strategic Bitcoin reserve, Bitcoin value, etc. Quantitative tightening stopping should help, but market growth during QT shows it's not a must. And this is what we're seeing right here. Quantitative tightening. This is a period right here. What do you see? Price actions going up. Yeah, we had some pauses along the way, but all in all, we saw market explode significantly higher during this time. We also saw quantitative tightening here. Okay. So what we're seeing in these markets, in fact, these aren't directly overlaid, but what we're seeing in these markets is the quantitative easing and quantitative tightening are not 100% directly correlated with the price action just moving to the upside. It can help, but the landscape of what we're seeing in Bitcoin with government policies, with the opening stance of, okay, how do we integrate this versus how do we squash the shit out of it because we don't understand this. So my name's Elizabeth Warren and I take money from banks, so crypto is bad. Sorry, but fuck all that nonsense. It is being woken up to the populace globally that this is an asset class, one, that you cannot stop, and two, that is something that is inevitably going to be integrated across the world. And it's not just money. Bitcoin and crypto is not just money. In fact, that's probably one of the least utilized cases of crypto. Blockchain is going to be the rails. It is the rails of the future, whether it's going to be, transparency in government, whether it's logistics and tracking, whether it's how we transact or store value, aka similar to money, whether it's how we can use digital compute, decentralized digital compute to eliminate 40 trillion or more in costs from all the trust industry, aka lawyers, middle management, people that, okay, I need a third party to also, okay, we both agree, you agree, we all agree, okay, because we don't trust each other. With blockchain, you don't need that. So when we're looking at these charts and we see that everybody says we have to have quantitative easing, and Jerome Powell just said we're not going to get it until we get the rates to zero, so this is bearish. Well, it shows here that it is not required. It is not required. Bitcoin dominance chart, total altcoin market cap. What do we see? We can see overlay periods of quantitative easing and quantitative tightening and see that both statements are false for needing this for a bull market. There's so much else on the horizon right now that is really constituting mass growth in this market because of the level of adoption that is very quickly starting to get integrated. And then we see what's going on with the market. Well, what has Bitcoin done previously since this bull market started back here at the end of 2022 into the beginning of 2023? Well, here is a 95% growth after we had the RSI breakout. Boom. And then it went sideways after that growth, that accumulation, that stairs. Did I still have this up? The stairs. Yeah, the stair step pattern that we're seeing on gold. Okay, big move up, consolidate, big move up, consolidate, big move up, consolidate. But in fact, because this is a bullish stair step to the upside, we call these accumulation zones, accumulation zones, accumulation zones. It's another form of consolidation, but consolidation, a lot of times people reference that as kind of being a distribution before a potential drop. But seeing this stair step pattern happening and looking at the chart as we see here, the RSI breaking out also after the accumulation, boom, 95% move. We got the stair step. Okay, little reset. And then on the reset, we also see the RSI reset majorly. And then we get another move, 80% move. Okay, what we do? Consolidate into accumulation. A little bit of sell-off. This is that ETF, speculation run. A little bit of a sell-off here, but what happened? The RSI broke out, and then what do we get? 73% move to the upside. Consolidate for 7 months, and what happened? The RSI took a much bigger reset. The much bigger reset is important because what happened on that massive reset? You also had a larger growth. You had plus 100%, basically a doubling in price. Boom, from right here, RSI broke out. What'd you get? 100% move. And what are we doing right now? We're doing the same thing. We are consolidating for what's most likely is another leg to the upside. So everything is that we see is what we've seen in cycles past, and people are just so frustrated. Weekly RSI breakouts are among the most bullish and reliable signals. Sentiment is always at its lowest before the breakout. So the max caution right now isn't that we're going to drop. Understand that. The max caution right now is what are you so damn emotional about in this market when we've seen this play out time and time again. And it's that moment where most people start to lose hope, where open interest drops because nobody's willing to take the bet any longer. When everybody's saying, well, should I sell? Should I make a DCA? It dipped. I mean, it's just going to go down if I buy. Max caution right now is to not be a jackass navigating this market emotionally. Is to navigate this market with strategy and understanding that this is the most bullish setup we've ever seen in this market. It just might take a little bit of time because we've got so much on the horizon and everybody's aware of it. So that is what we need to pay attention to right now, because the next thing up after this, let me go ahead and make sure I hit a like on that. Everybody make sure you're hitting the like button, hitting that subscribe button, ding the bell, show some love. Get involved in the live chat here on X. In fact, head over here to the X, my X profile here at Kelly Kellam. Make sure you're following the correct account. There's so many fake accounts out there. Make sure you're following this spelled the correct way. And then also, if you're watching on X, or if you're watching on YouTube, come over here, hit that retweet, hit this like button. If we get 15 new members, whether it's through gifts or for people just joining, I'm going to do it right here. Can I do 15? I'm going to type super chats, but it's going to be a combination of super chats and guess we will do a giveaway, $50 USDT giveaway, and start goal. Boom. We already got 5, so we only need 10 more. It can be a combination that adds up to that. But everybody hit that retweet, hit the like button. This is where we draw the winners from. So getting back over to what we want to look at. The setup is here. The stair step is being built. We're being just impatient, little petulant children. All of us, even myself, being like, God damn it, I just want this market to pump. But then we realize, the longer this setup happens, the bigger the move. So let's let the setup happen. And this is on the cusp of potentially having that breakout very soon. And then in addition to that, we see that we've got a key level that we need to be paying attention to, and that is this $89,200 level. Why is this? This is a realized price, the cost basis of the new whales. versus the old whales. Now, the old whales are people that have been holding for so far ago. In fact, their cost basis is $26,000. The new whales, these massive people, because we've seen that chart, and I've shared it with you all. We've seen that chart with how many, let me actually pull it up, how many of these major, whale buying has just been stacking in ways that we cannot even comprehend. I'm going to pull this chart up, and this is where this new whale cost basis comes from, and it's right here. This is the old whales versus new whales. And look at this. This is the start of the bull run right here. This is January right here. January 2023 right here. This is the start of the current bull run we're in. So since July, really since January last year, this is where the ETFs launched. But the data that came from the ETFs, how many institutions bought in, how fast the capital, $10 billion in 2 ETFs, BlackRock and Fidelity, both individually, not just one combined. BlackRock and Fidelity both had over $10 billion in assets under management. I'm talking 900 days faster than any asset in the history of ever, traditional assets, whatever. They broke records. It took years also for the gold one to get that. And we did it in it was like 230 days or something, 190 days. Those data points let other investors, big whales, registered investment advisors, smart money people out there. Oh, and what do we see right here? From July onward, an absolute exponential growth rate of the new whales just layering in. This is whales, meaning they are buying hundreds into the thousands of Bitcoin. And this is not just accounted for by the ETFs by any means. We're seeing whales stacking in like we've never stacked in. We're seeing this take the same stair-step pattern to the upside like we've seen on gold, and people are worried. And then in addition to that, we see the new whale cost basis is 89.2. Now, this is bullish and bearish, and it's not going to give an indication of what direction we're going. The point here is when we're looking at Bitcoin, look at the bounce we're getting right on the damn trend line that we've had drawn. Look at this. We had a little deviation below, Look at this bounce. Just rounding out above this trend line. Deviation, back up. Deviation, holding it, getting the move. Trend lines are not fictitious, guys. But the new whales, 89.2, this is why I was talking about, we're watching this level right here. 89. We can actually draw this a little bit lower. Boom. Look at this. This wick, boom, comes right to essentially where about that new whale cost basis is. So big money players, it's my estimation that what's really happening here is there's so much bullishness looking forward. There's an appetite of uncertainty because of the somewhat changing economic situation, what it means for the markets with the tariffs and where we're at on the global stage and what's going on with all the, that's all just allowing them to take advantage and liquidity grab the dumb money that's out there, bringing it back, pushing it up, bringing it back. All these are just ability for people that are smart. And it's every one of you are smart players because you're here watching BitLab, you're here watching Discover, you're here watching Blockchain Basement. These are allowing that happen. Now, if we do lose this range low, and this is the range low of all of this right here, 89.3, it's also right in line with where that new money, new whale cost basis is. So it does get a little iffy there if this does drop down below, but that we already have the targets in play. If that happens, we've already had this drawn. If this happens, I'd be watching for a quick move into 86. And if this isn't really quickly bought up, I'm looking for that CME futures gap fill down to this level. But I think this idea is more of a trap than it actually likely to play out. Barring some big broader market, not Bitcoin and crypto, the broader global markets, barring something that really shakes up all markets, which means it's not directly attributed to the charts on Bitcoin and altcoins, the markets have a heavy de-risking moment, then we're going to see this. But we're ready if that happens. I think what's more likely is watching the price action, chopping here, maybe get another little wick down. But I'd be more inclined to watch this, have the move up, chop a little in here, and then, sort of resolve out of this in February. Why? Because we have $16 billion getting distributed February 18th, which is starting February 18th, which is 6 days from now, we got the CME news. Okay, let's shake them out. Okay, the bulls are buying there too. The bulls have been proving to be resilient, buying these dips on all this. We have a forward-looking, super bullish administration that's only making the stronger case that Bitcoin is an asset that is okay to get into. Okay? And we're seeing all the signs and signals. And then we see altcoins. What's going on with altcoins? Well, look at this damn chart, everybody. This is so bullish. 36 months from the top to roughly where this sort of final washout is, 73% down from that move. And this is where the launch happened. Okay. So here we go. 36 months. And what is it? Just over 73% to the downside. And what do we see next? I do still think we're going to get a pretty strong altcoin move, but I'm still a little, my brain is still a little, I don't want to say scattered. I still think memes are just having their own thing. Those are in their own liquidity, just rotation of the same capital, some new money, but it's all altcoins. When we're talking about, when we're coming back over here and we're looking at the coin market cap or CoinGecko, whatever we want to look at, this, we're looking at Ethereum, and Ethereum's really going to set the tone when this starts to get its bid, and big players are stacking into this and dumb money selling. But XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano, I expect to have a pretty big move coming up with all of this speculation about the crypto council and Charles, and potentially, working with Aptos, have a meeting with Microsoft, potentially meeting with Trump and, a number of other players. I think Cardano's got a big move coming up, but then you're looking at all these others, Chainlink, Avalanche, Sui, Stellar, all of these. I do think there's going to be that move that everybody's starting to count out that's not going to happen, but I do think it's going to be concentrated for the most part in very particular coins that are outside of the top 100, like Aerodrome, for instance, or like Morpho, or there's a number of other coins. I think AI is still going to have its big play, but that's de-risked right now because of DeepSeek. But I think Ondo, as high as it is in the CoinMarketCap rankings, is going to get a major institutional nod. By the nod, I mean large corporate money with investment coming in and layering in to capture that growth before it really moves up, because the number of partners Ondo has and what they're trying to do with tokenizing the global finance, talk about the growth there. I mean, major. Chainlink as well. But this is, look at this. Essentially, everybody, we're getting to the impatient point. This is when everybody thought it's over. We got the move. Oh, no, we didn't. It's over. That's all. It's done. That's when you get the move. Everybody's getting complacent right now. Everybody's starting to overwhelmingly de-risk. I've even de-risked in my portfolio. I'm not completely impervious to the emotions of the market, but I'm also all in. I am all in on the market, okay? So being all in, it makes me take a little stronger focus of like, okay, where do I really see the highest chance for growth with the least amount of risk? And that's why I'm stacked the way I'm stacked. I still have risk plays. I still have all my Constellation DAG. I still have my dog on Bitcoin, because I think those two in the risk matrix still have massive growth potential at least very higher risk, but on the minimal risk level. Now with AI, I'm looking forward to deploy back into AI, but I think that's a little, in my opinion, because of the DeepSeek questions about this, it shook up the AI market. So I'm waiting for a little bit more courage to get back, getting back into those. Now coming on over here, what do we see? ETH successfully retested the 200-week exponential moving average, the key trend line, and horizontal support. So we have this horizontal support. We have this rising support line. Look at this. Wick down. Let's trap people short. Comes right back into the zone. And what do you see here? Flat level of resistance, rising level of support, massive ascending triangle, suggesting a break to the upside. And it's not just ETH. Then we also got Binance sending another 6 figures of Ondo to their cold wallet. $127,000 worth of Ondo. It's 91,000 Ondo, I believe that is. Yeah. And remember, Ondo's not listed on Binance yet. So there you go. Then we got, let's go ahead and refresh our liquidity charts here. Look at this. Scoop the lows, trap people, and then what do we get? Boom. Now we come up to the liquidity above. The game is not rigged. The game is not rigged. Your emotions are rigging your game. The game in crypto is not rigged with manipulation. You are rigging failure in your own game in this crypto market by trapping yourself in the emotional decisions versus taking strategy over emotion. That's what we need to focus on here. So when we come back into this, let's look at some of these metrics. Because Bitcoin, getting a little bit of a bounce. Again, this bounce does not mean it's up only from here. We still have a lot of cobwebs to shake off. But I think coming into, we got a new, full moon coming, which has very regularly been positive in markets. Whether it has anything to do with the moon or it just happens to be with the 30-day sort of cycles that we have within markets, who knows? But we've seen it on regularity be something of impact in the charts. But we're getting this bounce. We really want to see Bitcoin get above basically the $100,000 mark. But I was going to say this 99.2, but $100,000 mark, I expect we'll either slice right through it or get rejected and have to consolidate a little longer. But I think that we will be up. I think February will be an up month. Where are we at right now on the month? Let's look. Double click right there. Let me zoom out. So where are we at right now? We are, kind of not, it's just, we'd have to go all the way to 102. What's the open? OHLC. That's open, high, low, close of each candle. What is this? So that would be 102,424. The price needs to get above 102,424 for this to be a green month. In fact, we don't want this just to barely get above that and be a very skinny candle, because that starts to, indicate still weakness that may roll over. We want to see this come up and tap up here into the 107, 108. Will that happen by the end of February? Who knows? There's been so much narrative noise within this market. It's really hard to predict beyond just looking at the historical cycles. With this new administration, they're not just being bullish on crypto. They are completely restructuring how a lot of some of the things that are going on with corporate and bureaucratic malfeasance in the U.S. government. And that's causing a lot of sort of uncertainty and tariffs. But that's why I'm looking a little bit longer term. I think that this cycle is also going to be extended longer than people expect it to be as well. So if we get a little bit more heartache, aka time to stack, well then let's jump on that opportunity. But then, look at that, 2 hours. This is looking nice. Let's look at some of the data. Boom. Look at that. We got the reversal signal right here. Four bullish divergences just before the move. Boom. But look, we are above the weekly VWAP, but we need to hold here on this, either this candle closure or really what we'd like to see is taking out these high zones right here, this 98 to 98, 99,000. There's still no clear signal on what direction this wants to go. This market can wash us out, continue trapping both sides. Do not forget that we just went through last year. What was this? Boom, right here, all the way across. That was 237 days of frustration. But then we got out of this major move, on the breakout, a major move up there, a 61% move out of the breakout. Now from the low, that is a, 120, that's less than that. It's hard to see where my mouse is. 115% move from that low. But the point being is, guys, this is all still the setup for what's coming over the next 2 or 3 years. The biggest buyers in history are getting their situation. If you're worried right now with Bitcoin, with crypto, is it going to continue higher? Realize that anything that isn't continuing higher right now is an opportunity to take advantage of to strengthen the bags that you hold. This is not financial advice. This is strategy advice about the future. The biggest financial players in the history of any asset ever, that is nation states, national states here in the US, corporations, players like BlackRock, Fidelity, Ondo, Chainlink, Swift, DTCC. The biggest players in history are getting integrated with crypto and also setting up our new USA, God dang it. What? Our new administration here in the US is now setting up clear regulation framework so that the biggest players in history, in the history of the world, the biggest money players in history are now getting situated so that they can get activated, integrated, and deployed within this crypto ecosystem. So whether or not the price is choppy right here or not, realize this is an opportunity. You may need to be a little bit more patient than you expected, but patience in markets equals profit. So ask yourself right now, are you frustrated? Because if you're frustrated, you are ripe to get eaten up in this market. Because Ondo, I stacked into Ondo last night. I stacked into Aerodrome last night, but it's down. That's why I'm so bullish on this. And look at this massive move down. I mean, in a falling wedge, very similar to what we saw right here. And then we got, a little move, but bop. But we're seeing this bullish divergences stacking in here. I lowered my average entry. Then we see things like, I don't think I have the chart, but Aptos. Aptos, I feel like, is on the, I don't know what is so many lines on this chart. I mean, kind of just wrecking people to the downside here. Okay, but look at this. It comes right back down into this zone. I mean, I think when this starts to rip, with some of the partnerships they have, with some of the integrations, some of the stuff they're now doing with Securitize, aka tied in with BlackRock and Biddle and Ondo and all, I mean, to me, this shows massive opportunity at these levels. Constellation DAG. Okay, we got a little double top here, but I mean, it came right back down into the golden pocket. Look at this, right down in the golden pocket, right here. Boom, boom, right here. And the contracts they're having, and the fact that they're not on any tier one exchange. And look at this. This has been ranging sideways essentially since August of 2022. Down, back up, down, back up. When this rips, I mean, this is going to be some major moves. Solana actually having a little bit of frustration, but I mean, frustration what? This is just, within the zone. This is a double top. This did have a major move. We're on let's go to the six. That's Solana. Sorry, I thought this kind of frustrating at this level, but it's holding at this zone that it's chopping into each time. If this does lose, I'd be looking at opportunity down here in the 166 range, which is the golden pocket of that move. Okay. Sui had a really large run up. Let's go out to the daily. Had a really large run up. It only makes sense that this has come back. Okay, let's go ahead and delete. There's too many damn lines on this chart as well. Let's take a move, Option F, from the bottom to the top. And look at this. From the bottom to the top, where'd the price come back to? Golden pocket. Boom. Very strong buying candle. Came back up, and now it's fighting to get through the 382. If this chops in here, great. If this gives you another opportunity down here at 238, great. If you're bullish on this, then this should be welcome. But if this is able to hold, as these candle bodies have kind of rounding out in here, let's go down to the 6 hour. This is starting to look like, look, shoulder, head, if this is a shoulder. If this can clear this 382, which is basically right here at the 356 level, then I think this is going to start making its way back up. Algorand, getting very ugly in here. We're going to go ahead and delete, remove all drawings. Very ugly in here. Option J. This is the level that we see. This is the bounce zone. We really want to see Algorand get back above this 30 cent, 31 cent zone before it then really tests this zone here, which is this bounce, this rejection, chop zone, bounce, right? So from here to here is where we're watching that next zone. If this loses this, if the market pulls back in general, then we're watching for Algorand to come and test this level. And then you take the next high, boom, down here at this level. It's actually a little bit lower. But I'm leaning more towards the market having exhausted the sellers. So look for your opportunities and adjust what your time horizon might be in the next month or two, because this market is getting so exciting, and I hope you all stick with it, because there's so much going on in this market. I mean, even with the total 3, big washout down, the bulls brought it back up. If this is able to hold this zone in general, then I think this was, the bottom for most of these coins, and we'll start to move up. If we get the bigger washout, then remember, it just means that we have better opportunities. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Kelly, you do one-on-one TA classes. I got to improve my TA. Shoot me a DM. Maybe we'll talk about it. It's something that we did think about setting up with some of the new offerings. We're going to be rotating some stuff. We're going to be integrating a bunch of stuff with DC and Blockchain Basement so everybody can be in the same place. On that note, by the way, if you do want to take advantage, I'm just going to, because we are under $100,000, the integrations that we're doing, it's going to be much more offered. But anybody that is signed up through BitLab, and you can sign up with this deal right here, lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. If you sign up there, then you're going to be grandfathered in at that pricing on this other thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, the pricing is a bit higher. So go and sign up while you can right now. Get involved. We're going to be making that migration here very soon. So get in before, so you can lock in that lower price. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. With that, let's head over to Blockchain Basement. Let me see. I just want to make sure we didn't miss any. We got the Falco 5 memberships. All right, no giveaway today, but I love you guys. I appreciate you. I think we're going to be bullish at the end of this month. And I think March, my birthday month, is going to be super bullish. That's all I got. Adios.